Shabele from Al-Shabaab. And journalist Abdimalik Musa was done released from prison after serving 2-year jail term. Welcome to the broadcast. Somalia's government says the first group of 5,000 Somalis who were sent to Eritrea for military training has returned home to the relief of parents who had alleged their sons had been recruited under false pretenses. Defense Minister Abdul Qadir Mohamed Noor has confirmed the first group's arrival in Somalia's capital Mogadishu and said the rest will arrive in the coming days. Somalia has begun repatriating troops it said it sent for training in neighboring Eritrea, which led to protests in several Somali cities over accusations that they had been recruited under false pretenses and held captive. The soldiers were sent to Eritrea during former President Mohamed Abdullahi Farmajo's administration. After coming to power in May, President Hassan Sheikh Mohamud's government said that 5,000 missing soldiers had been found in Eritrea and would be brought home soon. Several of their family members said the men had been recruited by Somalia's federal government for jobs in Qatar, but they then surfaced in Eritrea, where they were forced to serve in the military. Eritrea is often described by critics as the North Korea of Africa for its use of forced labor, repression, and surveillance of its citizens. The apparent secretive recruitment of young Somali men stirred public anger and triggered protests in the capital Mogadishu and elsewhere. The Somali and Eritrean governments denied the men were held against their will. Somali Defense Minister Abdul Qadir Mohamed Noor has said that a first batch of troops, he did not specify how many, from Eritrea had arrived in Somalia on Wednesday. They will participate in the war on Al-Shabaab, he said, referring to an Al-Qaeda-affiliated militant group seeking to impose its strict interpretation of Islamic law across Somalia. Little is known about what the Somali troops did while in Eritrea. A UN report last year cited reports that some of them were sent to fight in a war in neighboring Ethiopia's Tigray region. Somali authorities denied that the soldiers fought in Ethiopia. Somali government has vowed to intensify operations against Al-Shabaab fighters and liberate towns and villages under the group's control in southern and central Somalia. Somali military supported by locals has engaged in deadly clashes with Al-Shabaab fighters in Hiran and Galgaduud regions in the last 2 weeks. The army liberated a number of villages in Hiran region following fierce fighting with the group's fighters. Somali soldiers and allied militia have liberated Nur Nirgod, the last village in Middle Shabelle in control of the hands of the Somali militant group Al-Shabaab. According to the Directorate of Defense, victory has been achieved in the area and the front lines will now shift to other regions controlled by the militants. Somali army and allied local militias recaptured Ronirgod district in the Middle Shabelle region this morning following days of heavy fighting in the suburbs of the district. Defense Ministry spokesperson General Abdullahi Ali Anor declared victory over Al-Shabaab in a press conference held in Mogadishu. Mr. Ali said Ronirgod was the only village held by Al-Shabaab in the Middle Shabelle region. The defense spokesperson said this morning at 6 a.m. coalition forces took over Ronirgod district, adding that there had been battles in small villages under the district, including Juha, Al-Naima, and Al-Kauthar. The spokesperson added that the battles in villages killed at least 150 Al-Shabaab members, including 5 foreign members, but did not mention the names of the foreign fighters. Weeks ago, Somali forces and allied militias pushed Al-Shabaab fighters out of the strategic town of Aden Yabal in the Middle Shabelle region that the Islamist group has controlled for 6 years. Aden Yabal, about 245 kilometers north of the capital Mogadishu, has been under Al-Shabaab since 2016. The district is located near the border between Hiran and Middle Shabelle regions. United States Command in Africa, known as AFRICOM, recently applauded what it called the largest security operations in 5 years against Al-Shabaab militant group by combined Somali and African Union troops. After Mahmoud was chosen as president in May, he quickly tried to rebuild old alliances, meeting regularly with regional officials and cultivating militia leaders. Somalia's clans have always been strong and are the only source of security and social welfare for most people. Almost all the militias currently fighting Al-Shabaab have kinship ties to the president. A month after the new government took power, Somali special forces known as Danab and clan militias demonstrated they could work together by pushing back Al-Shabaab after the militants had seized the key road in Hiran region. Al-Shabaab retaliated by blowing up water wells and phone towers and killing residents. In August, Danab scored another success in battle with militants in the town of Hes. Many local residents, inspired by Al-Shabaab's defeat in Hes, took up arms as part of the clan militia. The group now controls large parts of Jubaland and a new influx to the region is likely to occur. Somali forces are aided by drones in their war against the network, thus forcing them to look for cover in the Gedo, Middle Juba, Lower Shabelle, and Middle Shabelle regions. Somali forces are aided by drones in their war against the network, thus forcing them to look for cover in the Gedo, Middle Juba, Lower Shabelle, and Middle Shabelle regions. Authorities in the breakaway region of Somaliland have released journalist Abdimalik Musa Oldon after serving a 2-year sentence. He was charged for disseminating fake news about institutions of higher learning in Somaliland and the administration of Kulmiye Party. He has strong views on LGBT and the constitution. Journalist Abdimalik Musa Oldon was released from Hargeisa's central prison on Thursday after nearly 2 years in custody. Somaliland police arrested Abdimalik in August 2021. The freelance journalist was arrested outside his home in Burao for allegedly spreading rumors about the Hargeisa Cultural Center and Arbaso School. Mr. Oldon was also charged for unearthing the story of a female Nigerian who is in Hargeisa as the president of Barwaco University and expressed his concern over her presence in the country for spreading Christianity in the country, an allegation that was later on denied by the university management. This journalist has been arrested several times on various cases, including his ideology of pan-Somalism, the Abarso school accusations, and being critical to the current government of Somaliland. The Marodija Regional Court in Hargeisa announced in February 2022 that Abdimalik Musa Oldon had been acquitted of all charges. Oldon the prosecutors filed an appeal against the court's decision, leading to Abdimalik to remain in prison until his release on Thursday. Oldon was previously jailed in 2019 by Somaliland authorities for spreading anti-national propaganda and disseminating false news. However, after a stint in prison, he was pardoned by the Somaliland president. Al-Shabaab fighters have attacked a police vehicle in eastern Kenya, killing 2 officers and 1 civilian, police and the armed group said. The truck was traveling from Haile Lapset Camp to Garissa town, about 120 kilometers, 75 miles from the Somali border, when it hit an explosive device, according to a police statement. The fighters then fired a rocket-propelled grenade at the vehicle and engaged in a heavy firefight, which killed the victims. At least 3 people were killed in an Al-Shabaab attack in Garissa on Wednesday morning. The 2 police officers and a civilian were in a police vehicle when they were attacked between the Haile Lapset camp in Garissa. Police and survivors said the attackers first used an improvised explosive device to demobilize the speeding police vehicle before they followed with a rocket-propelled grenade. Then they fired at the vehicle, killing the 2 officers and a civilian as other officers escaped for their safety. The whereabouts of those who had escaped into a bush are not known. Police said an unknown number of terrorists had set up the bomb on the road in the morning hours and laid an ambush on the approaching vehicle. After the car ran over the IED and it exploded, the driver, those on board, managed to survive. However, they came under attack with the RPG and rifles. The attackers then set the vehicle ablaze. The vehicle belonged to Galmagala Police Station. Bura East is attached to the construction of the Lamu Port South Sudan-Ethiopia Transport Road Project. The LAPSET Corridor program is Eastern Africa's largest and most ambitious infrastructure project, bringing together Kenya, Ethiopia, and South Sudan. The area is near the Kenya-Somali border. Northeastern Police Boss George Seda said they are pursuing the attackers and that more officers had been deployed to the area for rescue missions of those missing. Police say intelligence shows there are pockets of terrorists who have been released from Somalia and are in Kenya near the border with a mission. On Saturday night, police fought off an attempt by suspected terrorists to overrun a police station in Kutulo, Mandera County. A group of terrorists had targeted the El Ram anti-stock theft unit using rocket-propelled grenades and rifles when the officers there fought back. The communication mast was, however, slightly damaged during the attack. Police said the attackers escaped towards the nearby Kenya-Somalia border. This is the latest such attack to happen in the area. Security agencies are on alert following reports that the Al-Shabaab terrorists are planning attacks there. The area is near the main Kenya-Somalia border, which is usually breached by Al-Shabaab terrorists who attack at will. Terrorists have been targeting security installations in a series of incidents and destroying them. They at times throw the explosives which don't explode. The border region has borne the brunt of repeated attacks from the militants who are at times aided by residents. The terrorists at times plant explosives on the routes used by security agencies and attack them. Deputy UN Chief Amina Mohamed has urged countries to urgently consider Haiti's request for an international specialized armed force to help restore security in the Caribbean state and alleviate a humanitarian crisis. In September, Haitian gangs created a humanitarian crisis by blocking a fuel terminal for nearly 6 weeks, halting most economic activity.
During my last visit to Haiti in February, I was encouraged by the nationally led efforts towards recovery. I saw strong efforts to rebuild after the tragic earthquake that struck the southern peninsula in 2021. Efforts to eliminate cholera were yielding results, and there were high hopes that political negotiations would set a new course for stability and sustainable development. But at the end of 2022, Haiti is in a deepening crisis of unprecedented scale and complexity that is cause for serious alarm.
November witnessed 280 intentional homicides, the highest record. Equally distressing is the number of abductions for ransom. Reported kidnappings in 2022 have so far exceeded the 1,200 cases, double the number recorded last year.
And those are some of our top stories for this hour. This is Dalsan TV English broadcast with me, Hibak Ahmed.